Before we go any further, what you hear on this podcast is our perspective as CRNAs. It is not medical advice and it doesn't speak for any hospital or employer. We're just two providers having the conversations we think need to happen.
All right. Bilal,
What's up?
you're here. Finally, we're doing it, right?
It took weeks, but we're here, baby. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yes, happy to have you. And we're going to start hot out the gate, bro. I got a question for you. Very basic question. You break the ice a little bit. Okay, so you ready?
Let's do it.
What is the MAC value of desflurane at sea level in a 40-year-old patient, and how does it change with altitude?
Higher you go, the lower max. The lower you go, the higher the MAC goes up.
Bro, we just wanted to get you. This is like PTSD trigger you from school.
Hey, man, I'm ready. It's not just Instagram, bro. I talk the talk, I walk the walk.
Yes, I love it.
Welcome to Clock Out and Connect, the podcast about what everybody's thinking, but no one's talking about.
I'm Chantal, a CRNA, mom, and professional worst case scenario planner.
And I'm Mark, a CRNA, dad, and the guy who makes the hard calls before most people finish their coffee.
We work in high pressure environments by day and come home to real life, family, ambition, and everything in between.
If you're thinking it, we're talking about it. Our guest today is Bilal Mohammad, CRNA, a Miami-based nurse anesthetist you probably know from Instagram and TikTok as thatcrnawholifts. Bilal has built a platform at the intersection of anesthesia practice and fitness. And if you follow him, you know he's not just posting gym content. He's talking about showing up authentically in a career that asks everything of you. Bilal, welcome to Clock Out and Connect.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about all the things that we need to talk about.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Before we get into anything heavy, we're going to have some fun first.
Let's do it.
Okay. First question of the day. I guess second one. What is your actual anesthesia toxic trait?
Miller blade is superior. I'm going to DL a 600-pound patient with my Miller blade. That's my toxic trait.
Dang, bruh.
You know what? That was our next question. Miller or Max? So.
My gosh.
I think a lot of people get so fixated about just seeing things on the chart that they don't look at the patient, right? You have a preconceived notion. Yes, have the emergency equipment available, have a bougie, have a glide, everything available. But I think the world of technology and how we're moving about everything these days, I think a lot of the fundamental practices such as DLing is going away. And it's really sad. It's really sad because technology is good up until a certain point, right? I still remember my training days where we'll be in a level 1 trauma center and we're trying to intubate this oral trauma patient, and then the ER residents come in with the glide. Oh, we're going to intubate. The first 5 seconds, blood gets on the camera, boom, they can't see anything. They don't know where to go. They're panicking.
Airway swelling up as we freaking go, mucking it up.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
and it's interesting that you said that because actually I had a talk with Mark recently about my experience with SRNAs here in Florida. Now, I'm in the Tampa area. And I distinctly remember a few times where I told the student, hey, I want you to DL, whatever blade you want to do, but I want you to DL. And then the physician anesthesiologist comes in for induction and immediately tosses it aside and said, no, I want you to use the McGrath. And so I found that interesting. And I just couldn't understand the rationale behind that. I have some ideas, but I feel like that's happening a lot. And it seems to be a lot more common where students aren't using DL skills. They're not being taught that. They're being made to use video. And I've had the video go out so many times.
Yeah. I have my personal feelings about it. And I personally think it's practice limiting. That's a hot topic. And I don't know if we want to cover this on this topic, on this podcast or not. It'll be a separate episode. But I definitely think there's a lot of importance in DLing and having that skill in the back pocket. Even if you use it regularly, right? It's fine. But I think it's very important to have that skill in your back pocket when you need it.
What would you say? Because this is something that kind of came up with some of my colleagues recently and just some changes. They're saying, okay, so what if you use the glides that actually act as DLs and that's not just a hyperangulated blade? So do you still need to use laryngoscope versus glidescope? And I'm just like, I still think it's good because just for the power reason that we just talked about, but they're just like, it's the same motion. That's the argument.
be honest with you, is it safer? Yes. Do I see the practice moving towards something like handhelds, like McGrath, in the next 5-10 years? Absolutely. I think it just increases the chances, right? And the same way that, there's ultrasounds for everything now, when people did blocks by nerve stimulators, right? Like a lot of pushback early on. There's still some practitioners still prefer nerve stimulators for certain type of blocks. But I think it's just one of those things that, like, it's good to have that balance for both, right? And that's why I said it's an important tool to have in your practice. But again, is it 100% reliant? No. I think the practice is going to move towards safer practices, which is the handheld glides and stuff like that, only because, like, your first time pass or first time success rate is just so much higher.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you, though. I'm just an old school DL kind of guy. I'm going to always try to DL before I use glidescope, except for if I'm in OB. Then I'll probably go for the glide first if we're doing like an emergency, like intubation, depending on the habitus, but because I don't want to mess around like at all.
But earlier too, it's all patient dependent too. There's some patients that you're going to automatically go for a video laryngoscope or a fiber optic or whatever. I think you just have to judge it by each and every individual anesthetic. Mark was planning to roast you if you said Miller, by the way.
Oh,
This is the thing. My goal was going to be to roast you because you're my boy, either what you said, but I am a Miller user.
I mean, try, but we'll have some heart-to-heart conversations then.
I'm a Miller user myself.
No, I'm a proud Mac user. You guys can all
Oh,
go
so
wherever.
you got the Toyota Camry? You got the Toyota Camry?
It's good or reliable until it isn't. You go into deep waters until you go into deep waters.
I know how to use all my tools. That's the important thing right there.
All right. Again, you can have a preference. You can have a purpose. There's nothing wrong with that.
It might be the wrong one.
Exactly. Okay. Can be the wrong one.
Okay. We did want to ask you one more little ice-breaking kind of question. Okay.
Go for it.
You have 30 seconds to explain what you do. You're at a dinner party. You can't use the word anesthesia, sleep, or surgery.
Okay.
No.
You're going to come in. You're going to need to get something done. I'm going to drug you. You're not going to feel anything. You're not going to remember anything. It'll be all taken care of it. And by the time you wake up, it'll be all done. And you may feel like it's only been 10 seconds. It could be 10 hours, 10 days. You never know.
Let's go.
How about that? How did I do?
Good job.
You're great. So we just laughed at all of that, but real talk, where does it all come from? That's what we're getting into.
Let's do it.
A lot of people in this field leave parts of them at the door, like their faith, their culture, who they are outside the room, because the OR doesn't really make space for it, right? So did you ever do that? Do you ever do that still?
To a certain degree, it's necessary, right? Because we are professionals. We are in situations where we need to be completely objective, right? So there's no room for subjectivity, right? Whether you could be taking care of a criminal, whether you could be taking care of a victim, whether you be taking care of someone who been abusing the people of your faith for hundreds and thousands of years, right? Again, all that goes out the window as soon as that person crosses that red boundary. There, you got to have your hat on, you got to have that mask on, and all your reservations, anything that you feel about them or about the situation just goes out the door, right? In the OR, all you need to do is you have a patient, someone's loved one, regardless of how you feel about them, you got to take care of them. You got to make sure that they make it off the table.
100% agree. I'm right there with you on that. And following your journey on social media, because another funny story, and I've been following you for years, and then Mark happens to know you. And so in the planning for this, it came down with, oh, I know this guy. He's so great, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, wait a minute. And so I looked you up, and sure enough, I follow you, and you're like the third person this has happened to. So
Oh, no way. No way.
That's because Mark's always outside.
Working the streets, man.
That means you in the streets too, because that's where we met.
Exactly, bro. I got two modes. Either I'm in the sheets or on the streets, bro. Like, it's either I'm taking a nap or I'm outside.
Oh, as long as you're not taking a nap in the OR, we cool.
No, never that. I think it happens often, right? I think it's just such a small world, anesthesia. And I have some really good friends of mine that know me on a very personal basis. And then they'll have colleagues and be like, they'll either send my reel to them or like something will pop up on social media. And then my friends will get a hold of it and they'll reach back and be like, yo, all my friends are going crazy on your reels. And they don't know that I personally know you. Like, hang out.
Yeah. So all that to say, so I've been following you for a while and I see that you're such a genuine, authentic person and you also lead with your faith, right? I've noticed that you're a practicing Muslim and I understand our political climate of today, right? And so you're sharing that openly and freely, which I think is so beautiful. But talk to us a little bit about what that's like for you at work. How do you navigate that? How do you make that work?
I think any good work environment doesn't hinder your faith, right? I think it's all of us having faith and spirituality. It's actually a superpower, right? I think it's a very grounding force. And I've been very fortunate that nowhere I've worked, that's been an issue, right? Whether do your patients see it in that way or not, it's a very different story. But in terms of like work, colleagues, I'm very good in terms of like, I need a quick 5-10 minute break to go pray because it's time. Times that I fast during Ramadan, like I switch around my break schedule and I just let them know I'm going to eat. So I'm going to just skip this lunch break and then, or either take my lunch break and then like follow up with dinner break that I need to when I fast. It's been very manageable. Same thing goes with like Friday prayer, right? One of the reasons why I have extra prayer on Fridays as Muslims, and at times I would put in my contract that there's either I won't work Friday or I'll work every other Friday. It's because I could go pray. We are professionals, and I understand that like having that flexibility is important. But the fact that like there's Friday prayer offer at the hospital that I'm working at now, it's at a certain time slot, and I just let them know ahead of time, and they always have been accommodating of that. So I think it's very important to have a good work environment. And if your faith is very spiritual, it's very important to you. I think it's important to look for that in the place that you want to work.
I love that. That's a great answer. Just being who you are, and having people being accepting of that, including where you work, is huge. Just shows how much you can be valued if you value yourself, and the things that you value should be first in order for you to be the provider that you are.
100%. I think it's very important that like realize what's important to you, and then you lead with that in a very professional and a very grounded manner.
Love that. So this episode in general is about occupational hazards, right? And we didn't want to go down the angle of literal OSHA hazards because we know there's many of them. But it's more of what the emotional effects are for you. What does it actually feel like to walk out of a hard case, like physically in your body, when you leave something that you went through, that we all go through sometimes, right? Hard, difficult, traumatic case. What is that like for you, and how do you handle that?
I think we all have seen cases where we were expecting a good outcome and it just goes south and there's nothing we can do, right? We put all our efforts in trying to make things work, and sometimes it doesn't work out. And I think that's just part of life. Understanding that it is a life cycle. Just to give you an example, when I was in training, one of the days that I was working an overnight shift at a level 1 trauma center, like we had this trauma come in, gunshot wound. Again, the patient was talking. Before we induced, we started the surgery, things started going south, and the patient didn't end up making it. But 10 minutes later, after we finished that case, we got ourselves back together because there was another stat C-section coming in. So we did essentially a whole circle of life within an hour. And I think it's important to like yourself, your emotions, but you're also human. You're going to feel things, right? So I think it's important to take the time to process these emotions. It's important to make sure that like you're allowing yourself to feel things, and the point that like, yes, you understand the gravity of the situation because it's life and death, right? We deal with life and death every day. And that's part of our responsibility, to see life and death and make sure that like we are attentive. We take care of every single aspect that we can, and we go in as prepared as possible. But sometimes, regardless of how prepared you are, things happen. And then what I personally love doing, process all of this, is take a trip.
Talking about taking a trip, you just came back from Spain. How was that? And a few places, right?
In Arizona, we're going to Atlanta tomorrow. So again, either sheets or streets. We got 2 options. Spain was awesome. I did a solo trip to Spain. I posted a whole bunch of things. I'm pretty sure you guys got a note about it.
Nah, never.
No, I had a blast. And again, I'm one of those people that I have, with me, myself, and I. So all 3 of us were hanging out, having a good time in Spain. And that's it. That's really it. Like, you don't really need anybody else to have fun. It's just you. As long as you're content with yourself, you're happy with yourself, you're going to have a great time regardless of where you are, who you're with, what are you doing, right? I could have as much fun in a bed on a couch or be halfway around the world, just be good vibes.
Or even in the rain running. as you got caught. I saw that. That was funny.
Oh yeah, man. I was downhill on a steep incline. I was zooming to a point that I almost got too much speed.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, whoa, he better slow down.
Yeah, no, I was zooming, but it worked out.
So, what do you think anesthesia providers carry silently that most people never see?
Well, that's a good one. That's a thinker. I think a lot of anesthesia providers carry that burden that they're taking care of life and death, right? And they carry that burden upon themselves that like at any given moment, like things can change like this, right? So like people don't realize that a lot of people see us sitting on a chair. A lot of people see us just having a good time, right? We're talking, we're joking, we're having a good time in the OR, but in a split second, all that can change, right? And I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of brain power it takes, the amount of emotional intelligence it takes from like cracking jokes to being cool, calm, collected, Kobe, ice in the veins, like focus into making sure that you do everything that you can, every single hour of training that you spend, every single drug that you studied about, you know, and all that like gets focused, like that gets lasered in. So a lot of people don't realize that we carry this big old bag, right? And it's right there. It's on our shoulders every single time that we do a case. And I would have to say that's something that people don't realize because people see how nice anesthesia is, how comfortable it is, or having a good time, we're making a lot of money. But nobody knows that like everything's going south. Everybody looks up to anesthesia. Everybody's like, all right, what do we do next? What's our plan? Right? Again, those things I would have to say that we carry it really well. Every single anesthesia provider does it, right? And nobody gets to know.
I agree with that. And also, I'd add to that, like, except for the surgeon, we can do everybody else's job in that room, but no one can do ours. Not even the surgeon. You know what I mean? Surgeons, we're interchangeable. They can't do ours and vice versa. But like, we can do everyone's job. We've been trained to do all the things, and sometimes we have to be observant. To be honest, I mean, no shade to providers, but like sometimes we're looking down at the surgical field and like, hey, something doesn't look right, and we're alerting them of what's going on because I've been that person.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. You're like, oh, there's something up.
Yeah, I think that's also a big burden to carry because when it hits the fan, like you said, everybody's looking at you, and you're just like, oh, okay. But then the other times you're expected to just chill, not really say much, be intuitive, but like we're always walking the line, and also we have to hurry up and wait. You know what I mean? With just so many things. There's so many things that we have to do. We're like a walking like personality. Like really do have like full personalities. Like
yeah, no, it's split. It's a split.
Yeah, and a lot of people just literally see, like you said, just sitting in the chair, hanging out. Nobody really knows you're around, right? Until things go wrong, and then all of a sudden people are aware. That you're even
Anesthesia.
Yep.
Or is everything okay up there, anesthesia? I was like, yeah, is everything okay over there? Because you want me to know something? Is there something I should know?
Up on the ceiling.
Yeah. Or you hear a lot of sucking and you look over to the canister and we're at 800 mLs of blood loss in like 5 minutes. What happened?
But you want to use the zappy thingy? That works.
They're going to be like, no, it's just 200. It's just 200. EPL's 200.
Hey, it's hard, okay? Especially for ortho bros. They can't count past them 2 of ANSEP, okay? It's hard for them.
That's fair.
It's hard for them, okay? No.
Must fix bone.
Must fix mush.
Healthcare social media gave patients more information and less trust in us at the same time, and we're walking right into it.
Okay, all right. Who's going first?
That's loaded. Healthcare and social media gave patients more information and less trust. I think patients, I don't even know where to begin because the angle is crazy because I think we have so much information and some of that information is not correct information, right? And now everybody can go on the internet and publish whatever they want and say what they want. And everybody's the expert, except for the people that actually went to school and went through the hardship, right? And then we also have to be sensitive to listening to our patients and requests and all that stuff. So just feel it's a hard time.
Mark is on the right track. I think there's just so much access and not everybody is equipped to filter through all the information. And I'll take my parents as an example, right? They're immigrant parents, so like they have this mentality of what's on the internet is true, right? But that's not really the case. We know that, right? A lot of people can post anything that they want, whatever they believe, whatever their reservations are. And the fact that you have scrubs on doesn't make you a medical professional, doesn't make you educated, doesn't make you qualified to talk about certain things. So I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Access comes problems, right? So I think as providers, I think it's our job to kind of filter through right and wrong. And I think that's why you need to have good accounts on social media where we focus on what really matters, right? Instead of just going for the trends and dancing on TikTok. I think we're still professionals, and I think there's a certain level of accountability that we need to have, even on social media, right? It doesn't stop at the hospital doors, right? Even social media. And again, if you want to run a fun account, I make a lot of memes and all that, but I think there's a certain level of accountability, right? And there was this hot topic that I'll mention. But a lot of like people were showing the harpoon. If you do OB, you know what the harpoon is. It's a really big epidural needle. They were comparing it to an IV catheter, right? And I think a lot of that is clickbait stuff, right? A lot of that is just like, oh yeah, look at this compared to that, and like I'll get her a really nice Mother's Day present, right? Comparing that because she's going through so much. But what people don't realize, the flip side of it, and one of the MDs I follow, she had to make a video on it because she is an OB anesthesiologist, and I really admire her for that, just because like she's talking about how, yeah, it gets them a lot of clicks and it's a cool topic to post on social media, but it's instilling a lot of fear into women who were already skeptical about getting an epidural, who have heard wives' tales, who have heard horror stories, their friends, their colleagues, their family members. And I think it's instilling that fear furthermore. And I think as medical professionals on social media, I think we should understand that what we put out gets like dissected. And a lot of times it's getting dissected by the common person who doesn't know the situation in its entirety. So it's your job to make sure that you don't put something out there just for the views, but you actually put something that's meaningful.
You hit the nail on the head at that. And I actually was thinking about it when Mark was saying that, because I saw that video and it made such a good point, because not only is there all the misinformation going on, there's a lot of people that share their worst days, right? Their horror stories, their worst experiences. And there's, especially in the OB land, there's tons of terrible birth stories, right? And so when you throw in all of these things out of context, I think it just does a disservice overall.
No, I 100% agree. I think it's just one of those things that like you got to do better. And that's all it is. And a lot of people reach out, oh, is this a shot at me? And like, bro, I think it's just overall, as professionals, we just got to do better.
Agree. All right, another hot take. If patient outcomes are the same or better with independent CRNAs, then physician supervision was never about safety. It was always about money. What's your take?
I think a lot of it is, everything is a business, right? Healthcare is a business, anesthesia is a business, and lobbying exists. And it's one of those things that, like, again, double-edged sword, right? Like, whoever holds the biggest lobbying power gets to make the choices, gets to dictate. The politicians are in power. So I think a lot of it comes from, like, understanding that, like, yeah, you have physician and anesthesiologists, you have nurse anesthetists, right? And I'll even throw in like anesthesia assistants or AAs, right? And I think a lot of it is just made away by executives who want to have a profitable business, and translates over to our practices. And a lot of times it doesn't work out for the best. So I think case-to-case scenarios are best. And it is important to realize that we were the first anesthesia providers known to civilization, right? Like nurses were the first ones. We do a whole extensive course about studying and how anesthesia practices started. So nurses were the first ones doing it, right? And they had extensive training, and then like everything that is now came after our profession. So I think it's just very important to acknowledge that we were the pioneers in this game.
Yeah. And then you still have the naysayers that for some reason like to rewrite history on that one.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can't refute that, right? This year, the ANA is at Austin, so we can go to the Ether Dome and check it out, who was doing it first. But again, we were there. We were at the forefront of this. So
we were there when it wasn't glorious, right? It wasn't glorious to do anesthesia. Remember that? That was the whole thing. We didn't even understand it. So many people died. And then we were first doing it, and then all of a sudden you got perfected and everything was good. And then somebody saw a chance to make money and control, and here we are years later.
100%. 100%. I think everything translates to money, and ultimately that's where America is, right? Everything's about money. So whatever gets the most dollar tends to stick, right? Whatever the economic needs are, people make a way, right? There weren't enough anesthesiologists. The CRNA field came about professionally, right? And there were enough anesthesia providers in total. The AA field came about, right? So ultimately, like, it's just trickle down economics. That's all it is.
Okay, so in talking about occupational hazard, your body does keep a score of all the things that you put it through, right? So most people complain. You did something about it. So let's talk about that a little bit. For you, it looks like weightlifting is self-care. What would happen if you stopped doing that?
Honestly, I have, again, I'm not perfect, right? I have my waves, but I think for me, working out, it's been such a crucial part of who I am and like how to deal with my emotions, right? Like I'm sad, I go work out. Whether I'm happy, I go work out. You know, I'm having a bad day, I work out. You know, things happen at work, I go work out. We're in an argument, I go work out, right? And I think it's one of those things that like people need to realize that moving your body does so much good for you, right? Just the release of endorphins, the extra blood flow going through your muscles, like to your heart, like your heart's beating faster. I think just having that movement is such an important tool to feeling better. A lot of people don't realize it. I think, yeah, a lot of people get stuck on, oh, I don't know what I'm doing at the gym. I don't know if I can run that far or not. I don't know if I'm lifting the right things or not. I think a lot of people get into their head about these things, right? But ultimately, I think if you get yourself into a gym, and I don't care what you do, whether you do machines, free weight, whatever it is, you'll feel better. I 100% guarantee that. I had a famous saying that I used to say in school all the time: no gym session is a bad gym session, right? So as long as you got yourself to the gym, you'll feel good. And you need that. You need that. You need that boost of endorphins to study an extra 30 minutes. You need boost that. You need that boost of endorphins to make sure that, you know, clinical day goes. Some of my best work days were days that I would work out in the morning and then I would go to work. I would be pumped. I'll be happy. It'll be a great day at work.
And you sleep like a baby at night, that's for sure. Especially when you work out. For me, my gosh, whenever I work out in the morning, especially if I do like bike ride or something, I'm like, at some time when I get off shift, I'm ready for bed, like wind down. I sleep like a log that night.
Exactly, bro. Like, I think it just gives you more time, right? Because I've done sessions, right? When I worked in Texas, I would work out after our shifts, and I think it's just there was never enough time. So the fact that like I started working out early actually did two things for me. I was waking up early to work out. I started praying my first prayer, which is before sunrise, right? So it also motivated me to stay on top of my prayers. So I think having that faith and fitness balanced my psyche, right? Just like leveled me out. And I think it's very important to have that balance, especially in a career where we deal with so much on a daily basis.
Definitely.
So let's talk about a little bit about all of the demands of the job, because we'll often have shifts where we're standing for hours. We don't get breaks. We don't get to go to the bathroom. We don't get to eat. I think we've all been there. What does that do to you over the years?
I think it's just understanding that we are the chosen people, right? We are the chosen people in the sense of like we have a higher responsibility, right? We are in a profession where, you know, split seconds can make it a big difference, right? And, you know, can't take it personally. I don't take it personally, right? If I don't get to eat as much on a day where it's been busy and it's been critical cases back to back, right? It's fine. Just think that's the mindset that you need to have, that like, you're going in and it is a job, it is a calling, right? Because there's a lot more ways to make good money, right? But we chose to do this, right? We chose to do this just because it aligns with our morality, our spirituality in a sense, right? That you can't just take it personally. Like, I think over the course of a year, some people do get better, but over all of us, like, understand that like there is a bad day, it's just a bad day, right? It's not going to be a bad week, it's not going to be a bad month, and just take it day to day. You know, take it on a day-to-day basis, and I think that's the best way you can look at it.
I agree. I feel like this profession it chooses you, because I've seen many people. I mean, even in class, and you start off with 30, you lose 10, and then you guys go in and it's rough, and somehow by miracles in certain situations you get by. But I say that to build a case of I've been in class with people that are super smart, and they're doing well academically, right? And I think all have to, but I'm just saying there's always someone that's smarter than you. And they don't stay for one reason or another. Like someone gets sick, so they have to drop out of the program. Someone like going through some type of divorce, and so they're gone, or they didn't perform well they performed well academically but they didn't perform well clinically, or they did both and they were just like, this is not for me. So all these combinations of variables that can happen, it just shows you that the people who do make it, we're supposed to be here. And I feel like, going to your point, like if it shows you, you can't take it personal. Like there's so many, I feel like most people would say in our field, there's so many more good days than bad days. There's some days when I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Like I get to do this. This is nuts.
No, for sure. Like I feel like that every payday. This is awesome.
This is true. And then payday is just the icing on the cake. It's just
like I get paid to do like as much as enjoyment I get out of this profession.
Do you guys remember your first check? I remember my first paycheck. I remember working, and you know how the first paycheck, you don't get paid the 2 weeks. I think you have to wait like a month for everything to catch up and all that stuff. And even that, I was just like, this is crazy. Like I would have done this like for less, but yes.
Oh yeah, no, the first paycheck definitely hits hard, and like this gets to show you the reality of it, right? And I tell that to a lot of people who are considering, is that like you doing this program, you becoming a CRNA, it's going to change the trajectory of your life and your family's life, right? That trajectory is forever going to be changed once you get to where you need to be. And a lot of people don't realize that. They get stuck in, oh, I can't work for 3 years. Yes, you can. But again, it takes money to make money. So you have to invest in yourself. The return of investment, the ROI, is unlike any other profession.
100% agree. And actually, I remember I had an assistant program director that told me that. He sat us down. Mind you, we were active duty, so it was a delayed gratification for us on that. But sat us down and said, hey, this is going to change your life. Just like how you said, Bilal, it's just going to change your life and your family's forever. And while I didn't get to see that payout initially, again, since I was in the military, getting out now that I've been out for a couple of years, it has been completely life-changing. Return on investment, 100% worth it.
And then when you think about it too, and from a financial standpoint for sure, but like even going down another route, like job satisfaction, even though we have a lot of responsibility, but you talk to so many other people. I feel like I talk to a lot of people that just hate a lot of their job and what they do. And we also have so many different pieces. If we're just like, over the OR, I want to just do ambulatory eyes for 5 years, or I'm just, I'm just going to do some endoscopy because I'm just done. You can do that. Or I'm going to go do plastics if I don't want to. I'm just going to mess with OB. I just want all pregnant women. I want to put some epidurals in. I want to do C-sections. We can do that. We can change it up. There's so many flavors and we still get that gratification. And the cool part about our job too is that we see our results pretty quickly. That can spoil us in the real world. That's the problem. Yeah. We have so much control of the ANS, the autonomic nervous system, and just of things. I could say I forget when I'm just like, what is going on? What's taking so long? Like, why is this not it?
No, for sure. I think it just spoils you.
Yeah. The instant gratification is like one of my favorite parts of the job.
Yeah, I mean, like it'll forever be like me putting a spinal in, getting that CSF, and boom, they don't feel anything within the next 10 seconds. Best feeling ever. That is my favorite thing to do.
All right, so we spent a lot of time on what the job costs. Your head, your body, your faith. Now I want to know what it gave you back. What does it give back? Like, what do you say gives back to you?
I think we talked about it earlier. I think it's just satisfaction, right? Satisfaction that like I get to help people. My job makes a difference in someone's life. Like I go to work and I take care of what I need to take care of, and someone's going to be better off because I was at the head of the bed, right? And this is not saying that I'm an amazing professional. I think it just goes for every anesthesia provider, right? Like we get to see people at their lowest and the most scared they are, right? And you get to come in, especially like if you're someone like me, I'm a certified silly goose, right? So I crack a whole bunch of dad jokes, right? And there's just good vibes. And I have literally had people tell me that like you brought my anxiety level from here to here, right? And it's so meds, it's just me cracking jokes, me having a good time, right? And I adjust to what my patient population is, right? If it's someone younger, then like my jokes are kind of on an inappropriate side, but it makes them giggle, right? If they're a little bit more mature, they tend to be dad jokes and, little quirky things that kind of get a giggle out of them. And I think it's just so important to have that satisfaction that like you go to work, you make a difference. And a lot of people who do have professional jobs don't have that. And that's why they're miserable in their career. I would never get tired of anesthesia just because, again, it gives so much back to me in terms of like, just for my soul, it fills my cup.
It's such a good way to look at it. Love that. So this is part where we stop performing. It's off the record time. So I have a question for you. Another question.
Go ahead.
Okay. We want the OR story you've never told on the internet. Not a patient story, not a surgeon story, you know, just the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you in the OR.
I can go first, actually, because I mean, I think this was for everyone, right?
Well, go for it. Go for it. I got to think about that stuff.
I got two things.
Well, go for it.
All right. So I was wheeling a patient back, and you know how sometimes you have to reverse into the room based on how the bed is and whatnot and the setup of the room. So I'm reversing in, and I'm 6'2". You can kind of guess what happens. The lights are low, and I just hit my head hard, like so bad on the hold down of the light, the handle. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So now I go into rooms and I'm like, got PTSD all the time. So I'm always ducking, and they're always wondering. They're like, what's wrong with you? Like, and I'm just like, I got hit. And then the second thing that happened, that was pretty embarrassing. I'm intubating the patient, tubes in, and the nurse is pulling out the stylet, and she whacks me in the eye. And I'm just like, now whenever I intubate, I'm just like this, super far back. And people are like, bro, why do you do that? I'm just like, because I got hit hard. Now I always lube it too, because it was just too tight, right?
There's always time for lube, brother. There's always time for lube.
Yes, sir.
All right, so this actually happened with one of my attendings, and like this attending, I adore her. She's like closer to my age, I would say like a few years older than me, and she's like the most adorable, bubbly person ever. Like, and very, very chill vibes, and she's like very helpful and very handsy, right? And so we're in this case, we're starting, right? We got the person intubated, and I'm doing things, right? And you know the hospital beds, they have like detachable pull that actually comes off, right? But some of them don't. Some of them it just pulls up and then folds, right? So she didn't realize that it was one of them that it comes off. She thought it was one of them that folds, right? So me standing on the side of it, she pulls it and it hits me right underneath the eye. Like my glasses fling off. Oh. And I have a tiny bruise, and like entire day, and I want to say the entire month, like we keep calling her Muhammad Ali just because like she goes like yeah man, if you mess with her, she gonna knock you out.
Dang.
So I would say that was like probably one of the funniest things that happened to me recently.
Talk about occupational hazards.
Yeah, for sure. With her around, we need some boxing gloves because she's gonna go 12 rounds with you.
Sparring.
Mine was, I don't know, I find it pretty embarrassing, but I was getting ready to induce a patient, and I, do my quick sweep real quick to make sure all my stuff is working and my end title's not working. I'm like, what is going on? So I like start troubleshooting. I start going through all the things, and then I'm like, what is happening? I can't figure it out. So I call my anesthesia tech, and I think I've already given like fentanyl and a couple things already. So I'm just like, my window is closing, and I'm just like, what is happening? Anesthesia text comes through, and we're trying to troubleshoot. We're doing all the things. We can't get it to work. We're thinking about, we need to get a new end-tidal monitor, the unit, all that.
Water to trap, yeah.
It just wasn't plugged into the actual patient mask.
Oh.
Love that.
It do
I
like
love that.
But like sometimes it's deceiving, right? Because like I had an incident where like everything was connected, everything was good, but there was a slight rip in the tubing at the very tip of it. So it just wouldn't pick up the end title. And like us, like you're looking at this close, you wouldn't be able to tell.
No way. Yeah, no way.
It was just the weirdest thing. And I was like, this the waveform does not look good. It does not look good.
Makes you wonder how things go so well so many times when they don't, because there's so many points of like where things can go bad because we use so many things that are connected to something and then another thing, Yeah.
But like that's a part of the job where like you need to be, for a better word, very neurotic about it, right? Very OCD, and we all do it the same way every single time, right? Just because it eliminates error, and a lot of people don't realize that. Yeah, we may be the chillest people around, but when it comes to like patient care, we become super OCD, become super type A. Everything becomes very methodical just because we're trying to avoid errors, and repetition is the key.
100% agree. So Bilal, before we let you go, where can people find you?
You guys can follow me on Instagram or TikTok. That's CRNA Who Lives. That's THATCRNA Who Lives, like works out. I appreciate all of you guys for having me, and it's been a great conversation. I'd love to come back anytime you guys want me.
We're so happy to have you. Do have one last question for you. It's just a little teeny one.
Let's go for it.
Would you do this all over again?
100%. 100% I would do it all over again. It's going to suck, but I would do it all over again. The outcomes are definitely worth the struggle. And it's since because we talked about all the things that this episode talks about, and especially faith in who I am, there's a Quranic verse that goes, Wal usri yusra, right? And that's Arabic, and it translates to, with hardship comes ease, right? So you have to go through hardship in life to get to the ease, right? So that's a very important lesson that you need to learn to do in life is through hardship, there's going to be good things afterwards.
That's beautiful. Thank you so
I love
much.
that.
Thank you.
Bilal, thank you for hanging out with us. We're so grateful. We'll see you soon, brother. And we're going to be doing something real special at AANA. So you guys stay tuned. You guys will be out there. We're going to all be doing something fun. We can't tell Bilal what it is yet, but we'll tell him soon. But he's going to be happy in Boston.
I'll be there. I'm excited.
Let's
guys.
go.
All right, guys. I hope you have a good night.
You too.
That's a wrap on episode 5 of Clock Out and Connect. Follow Bilal at thatcrnawholifts on Instagram and TikTok. Handles in the show notes as well.
If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it.
New episodes drop every other Tuesday. Find us at Clock Out and Connect podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen.
And if you haven't left a review yet, it takes 30 seconds. Your support means the world. That's it for tonight. We'll see you next time.
All right.